we spent a lot of time last time picking on Neil Ferguson
Yeah.
and the Imperial College model, but we have I feel like there's a more culpable person that has propagated all of this mythology, and that's Anthony Fauci. And
Absolutely.
you've coined a term that I quite like called Fauciism. Faucism.
Faucism.
We'll use Faucism.
I say,
And
yeah.
what is Faucism?
I define Faucism as a highly technocratic medical approach to government that seems to view society almost as like it was a computer game that you can manipulate through central planning from the top down. Although it's not necessarily economic central planning as we're used to discussing, it's type of a scientific central planning where if you pull levers at this certain point in the course of the pandemic, that's going to change the trajectory of the virus's spread. And if you turn one knob, it enacts a lockdown, turn another knob, it puts in a mask mandate, and you can, with precision, guide the course of the pandemic. So there's a huge hubris that underlies this ideology of deferring to like an expert command and control figure such as Fauci to just issue edicts, and everyone's supposed to go and implement it, and then everything's supposed to be fine. The problem is that Fauci himself turns out to have a pretty poor track record of being able to predict what his edicts are going to do. He also seems to have a very strong disregard for the norms of democratic representative governance. And, we can debate the merits of that type of a system separately, but it is ingrained into our federal constitution. And yet you have a figure like Fauci who wants to set aside any legislative deliberation on these policies that he's advocating and just have them come down from a decree from the NIH or the CDC or the state health bureaucrat, and no one is allowed to question that decree because it's all done under emergency orders. So I define Faucism as medical technocracy done in a top-down, almost autocratic way.
It feels like, and I said this about vaccine passports, again, trying to find that analogy that would resonate with people. Vaccine passports seem like a perfectly great idea for farm animals, but not for people. And I think, now that I know way more about epidemiologists than I ever really needed to know or wanted to know. But two things that you learn is that they are extraordinarily hypochondriac.
Yeah.
And that they very much have these blinders on where they're just thinking about the human population as if it was a herd of cattle, and they're not giving them, they just don't care about other considerations like civil liberties or the economy or even other diseases, although I would think they should. But I feel like Fauci's worse than that.